Welcome back, everybody, on this Overreaction Monday. Our thanks to Tim Polasek for giving us a few minutes. If you missed that, we'll podcast it later. Inforum.com. You can watch it again on WDAY+. Each and every Monday in this time slot, we have our guy Sam Herder from Hero Sports join us, who was in Fargo for the Bison Jackrabbit game. And I don't know if it was predestined that we were going to have these two teams meet, but they were 1-2, and that's the teams we get playing for the championship here in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, quarterfinal round, semifinal round, now championship. Everything is going chalk in this year's FCS playoff bracket, which doesn't usually happen. But it was, Saturday morning was just fun overall. I thought less about winner and loser, but just that we talked about it, that this year's playoff bracket just kind of lacked some drama and close games, and so to be there, watch a close game with a lot of drama in that atmosphere, it was kind of just peak FCS playoff, and so that was just a lot of fun just to be there and experience that environment.
Was this destined in your mind that these were the teams? I mean, Montana State's had a dynamite year, and I want to get to them in a minute, but just that this was the matchup we thought was going to, because I think a lot thought, we'll see on the Bison, and I know you wrote about it during the regular season game with the Jackrabbits, that things were trending in that direction for them to end the losing streak against the marker, but the way they played against SDSU both games is something we saw previous Bison teams do.
Yeah, very motivated for NDSU, and it just seemed like these teams, their paths were going to cross at some point, and I kind of wrote it in my preview too in predictions that it kind of, in a sense, kind of seemed like an end of an era with this matchup, whether it's the quarterbacks or just some of the other seniors on both squads. So it just seemed like both of these teams were destined to cross paths at some point. And then it also seemed like, Montana State was hovering out there too, where they were also going to cross paths with one of these two teams, because I think I've said it on your show before, every year since 2018, Montana State's season has ended by either South Dakota State or North Dakota State. So it just seemed like Montana State was going to meet up with one of these two squads at some point in the playoff bracket.
All right, two things I want to take from the game. First, your thought on what Cam Miller said. You have any issue with that?
I don't really have an opinion on it. Like, it was just like I had some other stuff going on there, Saturday. So like I saw it, I saw tweets about it, but like I didn't really think much of it. It was kind of just like stuff like that happens more often than maybe people think in the FCS. Like there's a lot of smack talk, whether it's the Montana schools or some other rivalries. In the SWAC you see that a lot, in the MEAC you see that a lot. In the Southland there's some rivalries there that you see some smack talk pregame and postgame. So like I saw it and I just kind of kept on scrolling, like, okay, it's a little smack talk. So like I not really an opinion on it. Like I guess I don't mind it. Like it just adds a little fuel to the rivalries. It's, I didn't mind it.
We want rivalries, man. That's what the heart of it is. At least that's my my 2 cents on that. Here's something that will get you go viral. Is that a dynasty for the Jackrabbits? What do we make of South Dakota State now losing in this fashion? And is 2 enough in your mind for a dynasty?
No, I don't think so. And I even said that last year, after they won their second, the discussion was, what is a dynasty? What counts as a dynasty? And there is, I guess, no definition, but my definition is I think you have to win 3 in a row to kind of hit that dynasty. So, I think I wrote in my prediction that South Dakota State is eyeing to put the finishing touches and put the stamp on their dynasty by winning the three-peat. I didn't mean that they are a dynasty. So I don't think NDSU ended South Dakota State's dynasty. I think they ended South Dakota State's potential to be a dynasty, because I think you have to win 3 in a row. But obviously a disappointing finish for South Dakota State. They left some plays out there. Some of their key defensive players left that game due to injury. But I still think they'll say that this season was not a success for them, because their goals were to win a national championship, and they fell short of those goals. But big picture wise, for South Dakota State to lose the talent they had and still be 1 score away from going to the national championship game, you kind of sit back and say, okay, they reloaded pretty well, all things considered, but they still fell short of their ultimate goal.
I am curious going forward. The cupboard's not bare. I mean, Wildy's back. We're gonna see if Chase Mason's the guy who's going to be the quarterback going forward. But I am curious to see no more Bach. Gronowski's moving on. What Dallas Beanham's moving on. What this team looks like in 2025.
Yeah, I think they'll still be in contender
Yeah, no doubt.
status. You know, I don't pay super close attention to recruiting just because, especially at the FCS level, like it's all mostly it's about development. I mean, we've seen so many 3-star guys
Yeah.
not pan out. Then we've seen walk-on guys, go to the NFL, whether it's from South Dakota State or North Dakota State or Northern Iowa. But it seems like not this year, but the previous couple of years, South Dakota State has probably out-recruited
Would
NDSU.
agree with that.
Maybe that was flipped this year, just looking at the signing classes. And so it seems like the younger talents, South Dakota State's, it has a lot of younger guys ready to step up, and they have a lot of depth. I know they really like some of their young running backs and some of their young linebackers. We'll see on the back end there for the defense. They really like Chase Mason. And actually Gronowski in the preseason, he did a story with someone, and they asked like, what's your plan after this year? And he said, this is going to be my last year at South Dakota State. And part of the reason why was because Gronowski said Chase Mason deserves, his shot to kind of take things over. And so I think they really trust Chase Mason to take over and do well at quarterback. So I think they'll be right up there with anyone else because Montana State loses a ton,
Yep.
NDSU loses a ton. South Dakota is going to lose a ton.
Yep.
Idaho, UIW, like everyone loses a lot. And so I think it's all about reloading. And I think South Dakota State has a chance, just as good of a chance as anyone else to reload and be the top team next year.
Maxwell Woods is the name you're going to need to know. Guy that was Mr. Football in Minnesota last year, that originally was committed to the Bison, flipped to the Jacks. He's going to be their guy next year. Mason and Woods, just book it now here on December the 23rd. Montana State, the way they beat South Dakota, I mean, Malott does what he does. The ball literally fumbles, it bounces right to him, and he runs in for a touchdown. That has been their year. Malott's been awesome, and this is going to be a heck of a challenge for the Bison to try and knock this team off.
Yeah, and I was listening to Coach Polasek just a little bit ago, and he watching Montana State. It's kind of sometimes us in the media pick up on things. You don't know if exactly like your analysis is there or not, but when you see a head coach back it up, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, they're seeing the same thing I'm seeing and a lot of other people are seeing, and that's like they just look motivated. Whether it's the crowd, the coaches are locked in, the players are locked in, like they just look super, super motivated. And I know like there was a good soundbite from Coulter Nuanez, told me this. I think he said it on your show too. One of their best players on defense said there's no more lessons for us to learn.
Yeah.
Like we learned them all in, the 2021 championship game and 22 semifinals. And then we know how last year went against NDSU, like all the lessons have been learned. Now we just need to go out and win it all. And 3.5-point favorites, I think is probably fair. We also said South Dakota State being favored was fair against North Dakota State, and the Bison obviously proved that wrong. But I think Montana State being favored is probably fair in this one. It's just how do they match up with NDSU? We don't know until we see it.
I think that way they lost, Montana State did last year, and I've said this before, and I'll say it to you, is eerily similar how the Bison lost at Eastern Washington. Game they thought they had was ripped from them. Montana State probably has to feel the same way. And there's one guy at the center of both of them. Vegan was there. Vegan was the OC for the Bison in 2010, and obviously the head coach last year. I don't think you can ignore that, Sam.
Yeah, they're just, sometimes that not snap you into reality, but, it kind of just puts your laser focused, even more. And, I believe I voted for Coach Vegan #1 for the Coach of the Year award. And, some people say it's, they were expected to do well and they did well. It should go to someone who turned around the team instead. But I thought Vegan and his staff overall, just the overall coaching job that they've done has been really impressive. And to me, it's less about who's the best coach and more about who did the best coaching job. And I thought that was Vegan because they had a very choppy year last year, both on the field and off the field. And everything that they were kind of lacking off the field and on the field, he corrected this year, whether it's better passing game, better defense, some both coordinators were kind of up and down a little bit. He let both of them go, and he was close with both of them. And the coordinators they have now are very, very good at their jobs. And so I thought the coaching job that they've done has been really good. And the seniors that have stepped up, have really stepped up in a big way. And most of them are Montana natives. And like that is their dream, is to play for the Bobcats or the Grizz. Like that is their NFL. And so I think that counts for something too, just how many Montana seniors they have on their team, they'll do absolutely everything they can to win a national title, and now they're at that stage. And if they do win it, like they're going to be legendary names. Like I don't want to exaggerate, but Tommy Malott could be an all-time sports legend in Montana if he is able to beat the Bison and win the FCS national championship.
It's just going to be fantastic. The Peyton is going to set things up on Saturday. 2 weeks from now, we're going to find out who wins that with Malott and Miller. Both are the overwhelming favorites there. And then 2 nights later with the championship game. And Frisco's got to be going over its mind here, Sam, the fact that the Bison are there. Montana State's going to bring a lot of people. I'm interested to see what this Monday night is like. There's no other games happening. There's no other bowl games. There's no NFL. The FCS has it to itself on an ESPN at a 6 o'clock Central Time slot. I'm really intrigued to see what that's going to bring in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it should be, you would expect, just with the time, the channel, no other competition, it should be one of the higher viewed ones. I mean, the NDSU James Madison game, 2019, I think did like 2.7 million. Yeah. That was on ABC. That's a really, really high number. Really I don't know if they'll beat that, but it should be a pretty good number there, just because they have the TV slot to themselves, and just the atmosphere in Frisco should be electric. Montana State traveled super well. NDSU fans will travel well. I do know a lot of South Dakota State fans have tickets right now because they gobbled them up a year ago, 6 months ago. Yeah. And so we'll see, if whether they put them on the market or they reach out to Montana State fans and say, hey, I'm not selling these. I'm not selling these to Bison fans. Any Bobcat fans, want my tickets. We'll see. It usually, most of the time, it's usually a 50-50 split, and we'll probably see a 50-50 split between the fan bases.
It's great to see you, bud. Have a great holiday. Enjoy this, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, you as well. Thank you.
Sam Herder joins us each and every Monday at 9:35. Give us everything going on at FCS. Sam, of course, will be heading down. We'll see him in Texas. Hot Mike will be down there 2 weeks from today. Excited about that. What a perfect lead-in. We'll have our show down in Frisco to get you ready for the game coming up 2 weeks from tonight. We'll break, wrap up our first hour. You got Jeff Kolpak waiting in the wings. I've got our airing of grievances is getting longer as we go on. Hot Mike on a Monday. Back after this.